Hello, welcome to Yellow Door Urban Homestead. I am Asia and I am an urban gardener growing in a small space in my backyard. I have like right at 2 weeks before I'm gonna plant out, and so I'm gonna start hardening off my plants, making sure my bags are filled because I didn't keep up with that. I'm also probably gonna start pulling some of the things that I know I'm not gonna keep seeds for. Like if I have 4 of one plant, I am clearly not gonna keep the seeds of that. Oh, look at this, y'all. There is a bee that's sleeping on a plant. I want y'all to see it. 1 second. How sweet is that? And this is why letting your plants go to seed is an awesome thing to do. He's sleeping. He'll wake up and go on about his business eventually today. But I think that's so cute. It's so sweet. Like to see nature thriving off of your garden, it's awesome. Anyway, what are we doing? We are pulling out some of these plants. Some of the plants that's gone to seed. I will leave one of probably each plant, but then I'm gonna pull a lot of this today because I'm not saving seeds from all of these plants. I'm not. I'm gonna give it to the chickens. The other thing I really need to do today is to fertilize the seedlings. I think it's been 2 weeks maybe. So while they're out here, I'm gonna go ahead and fertilize them. Also, it helps with the smell in the greenhouse because I'm fertilizing with fish emulsion, as I always do. I'm also probably not going to take them in and take them out and all that stuff. So our nighttime temperatures are like between the 50s and the 60s for most of this week coming up. But then I think Sunday they start to drop down in the 40s. Now in the 40s, I'm probably gonna put them back in the greenhouse because that's kind of cold for summer vegetables. But that's what I'm going to do since they're not planted out. Now if they were planted out, they just have to fight through it. But that's what I'm gonna do. So today, if I'm honest, I'm gonna leave them out here all day. I'm gonna watch them. If they look like they are stressed, maybe I'll put them back. But I probably won't. But to explain it like I always do, because this is what I'm going to do. This is not what, the gardening information tells you to do. But if you've been here for a while, you know I'm the see what happens gardener. And I am the less work gardener. So what all of the information tells you to do is to bring them out, put them in a little bit of shade for the first day, leave them about an hour or 2, take them back in. The next day, bring them out, put them in a little bit of shade, leave them for 3 or 4 hours, and then start to gradually put them into the sun. I just would rather not. And if they can survive without that happening, I'm not gonna do it. Also, they've been in the greenhouse. So it's not like they've been inside of my house. They've been in the greenhouse. They've been outside. They just haven't had the wind and direct sun. And so we're about to see if they can survive through this, y'all. So I'm still giving it 1 tablespoon to 2 gallons. This is a ½ tablespoon and I've already put 2 in here. And so I definitely got it on my hands. Fish emulsion smells awful, just so you know. If you're gonna use it, just be sure to probably put some gloves on if you don't want that smell on your hands. I still have to shower for the day, so it's not a big deal to me, but yeah, it smells awful and you should probably use gloves. So fish emulsion is a nitrogen-rich liquid fertilizer. Liquid fertilizers are gonna be available for your plants immediately. Granulated fertilizers, they are not immediate. They have to sit in the soil and they have to break down. And so I'm using liquid fertilizer because I want them to immediately be able to get what they need to be healthy and to grow. And so that's why I use fish emulsions. But you can use balanced fertilizers, liquid fertilizers as well. And so that's what I am choosing to use. But there are plenty more out there that you could use. But we are gonna go ahead and start to cut things out. This is the bok choy that I planted out, I think in February. It has all gone to seed. I am not thinking that these are gonna dry on the plant before it's time for me to plant out. And so I'm gonna go ahead and cut these out only because, you know, they aren't growing anymore. They're all going to seed, but let me taste it, because I'm all about tasting stuff in the garden. I won't be tasting this one. Look at the worm on the back of that thing. I can give that to the chickens. They will love it. How disgusting. There's nothing on that one. Let me see. Nothing on there. It's not bitter at all. Like I said, they said that you can still eat this once it goes to seed. It's not bitter, but I'm gonna give it to the chickens anyway. And so I'm just cutting right down at the bottom and taking it out. I'm gonna leave the roots in the bed because they will decompose and give organic matter to the soil. So that's what I'm gonna do with all of these. I could put this in the compost or I could give it to the chickens. I want to give my babies some food today, so I'm gonna give it to the chickens. And so with this cabbage, I could do the same thing. I could give it to the girls, but I have way more things that's bulking that has less leaf growth on it. With the cabbage, I'm gonna do a cut and come again type thing. So I'm gonna cut this cabbage out, and then I'm gonna cut the cabbage into smaller pieces, and I'm going to throw it onto the bed. This will also feed the bed more organic matter. And so there's several things you can do with the plants when you cut them out. You can put them in compost. You can give them to your chickens if you have chickens, but you can also just do a cut and come again, right in place, right where you are, and it's gonna still feed your garden. How nice. It's a nice cabbage. It's probably still edible, but it's been in here so long. And you can see where it was starting to flower. It was about to flower right there. It was gonna be a stem for it to flower. But I'm just gonna take it and kind of tear it up into smaller pieces and throw it back into the garden. Give it back to your garden. And so I know somebody may be thinking, putting those leaves in there, they're gonna start decaying. It could bring some type of pest to my garden. It could. But I'm gonna be honest with you all. I'm feeling very confident in my good pest to bad pest ratio in my garden these days. And so I'm still gonna do it. And they have a couple of weeks to decay and go back into the ground. So that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing in my garden. Also, look, this was about to flower. You can see it was stuck in the inside, but it was there. I'm not putting this back in the garden. It will take way too long to break down. I'm gonna put this in the compost pile. So for this bed, I left one kohlrabi that's seeding. I left one dinosaur kale. I left both of the cilantros because I want all the coriander. And I left one collard. And so these will give me seeds. The other bed, that's the same thing I'll do. I'll leave one red Russian kale, one collard. Actually, I may not leave a collard because I have one over here, and I'll leave some curly kale as well. So let's get back to work. I woke up the sleeping bee, y'all. He's gone now. So definitely leaving some flowers out here for them. Okay, so we left one of each plant. In this bed, we left a red Russian kale and we left a curly kale. And actually there's two curly kale because I cut the wrong one on this side. This one is kind of just started to bolt and I only have 2 weeks left. So I left another one that was bolting a little bit more over on the other side. So now, what do? We have a lot to do, I can tell you that. You know, also to explain why I want to keep these seeds. I have lots of seeds in the house that I purchased from like Baker's Creek or, you know, whatever seed company. However, if you save seeds from your garden, the more you grow them, the more acclimated they become to your climate. That is what I've heard. And I don't normally save seeds because I'm horrible at saving seeds because sometimes I'm not organized and I'm overwhelmed. This year though, I'm feeling pretty good because I'm not potting up a million seedlings right now. There's a bug on one of my seedlings. I don't know what kind of bug it is, but they got to get used to it, right? So if you save your seeds from the seeds and the plants that have grown in your garden, you could possibly start to see your plants being a little more resilient in your area. And so that is what I'm working on. And so that is why I am saving a lot of the seeds that I have out here. So just a little update for you. We were talking about the mint last week and I was saying how 2 of my mints didn't come back and I thought the third pot was a mint. It actually wasn't. The third pot was my lemon balm. Thankfully, I restarted lemon balm this year. Lemon balm is perennial. It should have come back, but it did not, and that's fine. No use in crying over spilled milk. I don't have any of, I don't think I have sweet mint seeds, and I don't think that I have the other mint. I don't remember what it was. But what I do have is some anise hyssop that needs a pot and some marshmallow that needs a pot. So these have been outside. I started them in the winter sowing method, and so they've been outside and they are already hardened off. And so at some point today or tomorrow, I'm going to just replace them in these pots. Right? Works out well. Not gonna cry about it. I still have mint that I like. The only one I don't like is that ginger mint, like I told you last week. And it's still pretty and it will still flower and it will be good for the birds and the bees and the butterflies. I say that all the time, don't I? And so I'll leave it. And the rest of it, I still have peppermint, I still have spearmint, still have orange mint. And that'll be fine. It'll produce well for us. You know, maybe in the fall, I will plant some mint and let it come back next year. But this year, I'm not gonna worry about it. We have some leeks that desperately want out of this container. And so we're gonna go ahead and plant those out really quick. I don't know that I'm gonna get to filling in bags today because I honestly don't feel like it. I am going to find myself at planting time filling up bags. I'm telling y'all, you watch what I tell you. I'm gonna try not to. I have 2 weeks, but it's not a part of gardening that I love. It's just not. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to visit me over on Instagram where I post about the things going on in the garden almost every day. Bye y'all.